A few days ago, while doing some late night research, I stumbled upon something really interesting. It was a novel written in 1896 called The Last President. Now, I've read a lot of things, but this one caught me off guard. At first, it seemed like just another obscure piece of historical fiction, but the more I dug into it, the more fascinated I became. It was almost like a warning from the past about what could happen in our near future. In fact, it felt almost eerie. Get this. A political outsider rises to power, dividing the nation in ways we've never seen before. A financial collapse looms on the horizon, and the very fabric of America hangs in the balance. In the book, mobs march on Fifth Avenue, right where Trump Tower stands today. Coincidence? Maybe, but it makes you wonder. With the election just a few weeks away, I couldn't shake the feeling that this book, written more than a century ago, has some uncanny parallels to today. Whether Donald Trump wins the presidency again or not, the question remains, could he, in fact, be America's last president? So let's dive in. What did this book predict about financial collapse, political unrest, and the rise of a populist leader? And more importantly, what could it mean for our future in America? So let's start with the first thing that jumped out at me. The night of the election and the last president. The book opens in New York City on November 3rd, 1896, and the scene is one of total shock. People were gathered at their dinner tables, confident about the election results, when suddenly they hear the news. An outsider has won the presidency. This news hits like a bolt of lightning. In minutes, the city erupts into chaos. Mobs begin forming, and the entire city is thrown into a panic. Sound familiar? Think back to the 2016 election, or January 6th, or even now with the tensions high with the election. In the book, the mobs start marching towards the wealthiest part of the city, Fifth Avenue in New York City. That's right, Fifth Avenue, right where Trump Tower is located today. The imagery is almost too coincidental. Mobs of angry citizens, feeling betrayed by the elites, marching toward this symbolic center of wealth and power. It's a scene that feels eerily like the growing tensions we've seen in real life, where people are frustrated with the government, financial institutions, and the wealth disparity between the rich and the poor. In The Last President, this unrest spirals into a full-blown crisis. The police and military struggle to maintain order as the mob rages through the streets. They're demanding change and even calling for violence against the rich. Now here's where it starts to get really interesting. The book doesn't just stop at political unrest. It's as if it predicts the exact kind of populism and division we're living through today. An outsider elected by the people, promising to take on the elites and fight for the common man. Now here's where things start to get really strange. Before The Last President was written, the author Ingersoll Lockwood, he published two other books about a young aristocrat named Baron Trump. Yeah, you heard that right, Baron Trump. But what's even stranger are the uncanny similarities between this fictional character and the Trump family we know today. In the books, Baron Trump is an aristocratic boy living in a place called Castle Trump. And if that's not enough to raise an eyebrow, his mentor, a man who guides him through his strange journeys, is named Don. So we've got a boy named Baron living in Castle Trump being mentored by a man named Don. The coincidences are almost too bizarre to ignore. And let's not forget the name Pence. In The Last President, one of the president's cabinet secretaries is named Lefroy Pence. Another eerie parallel, given that Mike Pence was Donald Trump's VP. In The Last President, the newly elected leader doesn't come from the political elite. He's an outsider, a man who claims to represent the common people. His platform is simple. Take power away from the corrupt elites and give it back to the people. Now that sounds kind of familiar. It's the same kind of campaign speak that Donald Trump used in 2016 to shock the world and win the presidency. Drain the swamp, take back our country, make America great again. All themes that resonate deeply with Americans who feel left behind by the system. In the novel, this populist message sparks a wave of support from the working class and those who feel oppressed by the wealthy elite. The president promises to dismantle the corrupt institutions that have kept the common man down. And as a result, he becomes a beacon of hope for millions of Americans who feel like they've been left behind. The book portrays a country deeply divided between the wealthy elite who fear losing their grip on power and the working class who are desperate for change. This division only grows deeper as a new president takes office and the situation starts to spiral out of control. The elites are terrified that the country's institutions could be torn apart, while the people on the ground see this as the real chance for real lasting change. Here's where it gets really interesting. The president in the book isn't just about policies. He's become a symbol, a figurehead for a movement that goes far beyond politics. It's not just about power. It's about giving a voice to the voiceless. And whether you agree with Donald Trump or not, there's no denying that his rise to power carried many of the same themes: upsetting the establishment, fighting for the working class, and promising to shake up the status quo. One of the most striking themes in The Last President is the looming financial collapse that comes shortly after the president takes office. In the novel, as soon as the outsider is elected, the wealthy elites panic. The stock market crashes, businesses shut down, and banks begin to fail. Wall Street is thrown into complete chaos. People are literally fighting on the floors of the stock exchange, trying to protect their wealth as everything spirals out of control. In the book, this financial collapse is driven by fear. The elites are terrified that the new president's policies, focused on helping the common man, will destroy their grip on wealth and power. They begin pulling their money out of the stock market, hoarding resources, and causing a ripple effect that leads to an economic disaster. This collapse hits the working class the hardest, leaving millions of people without jobs, homes, or savings. Now, I'm not saying we're on the verge of this type of scenario, but there are some real concerns today that echo the novel's depiction of economic instability. With rising inflation, markets reacting to political uncertainty, and a widening gap between the rich and the poor, the financial landscape today feels more fragile than ever. Whether you look at the volatility in the stock market, the looming national debt, or the rising cost of living, there's a sense that something big could give way. And here's where it gets even more interesting. In The Last President, this financial collapse isn't just about money, it's about control. The elites in the book want to protect their wealth, but more importantly, they want to maintain their power over the country. They'll do whatever it takes, even causing an economic crisis, to hold on to that control. It's a reminder of how deeply intertwined money and power are, both in the novel and in real life. Today we see similar dynamics at play where financial markets react not just to economic policies, but to political uncertainty and power struggles. The next president will face serious economic challenges, and how those are handled could have a lasting impact on the country's financial future. Now here's where The Last President gets its name and where things start to feel a little unsettling. The novel hints at a collapse, not just of the financial system, but of the entire political structure. As the unrest and chaos grow, there's a sense that the country may not survive in its current form. And the book asks a haunting question. Could this president be America's last? Could this be the moment where the system breaks down for good? It's a question that feels strangely relevant today. As we look ahead to the upcoming election, whether Trump wins or not, there's an underlying tension that feels hard to ignore. Political divisions are deeper than ever. Trust in the government is an all-time low, and people on both sides of the aisle are questioning the future of American democracy. Could we be nearing a point where the system fundamentally changes forever? Now, I'm not here to make predictions or push conspiracy theories, but The Last President does raise some thought-provoking questions about what happens when political instability reaches a breaking point. In the book, the new president faces immense opposition from the elites and the political establishment, leading to riots, civil unrest, and even whispers of a rebellion. And let's be honest, there's a sense today that something similar is happening. The idea of America being one nation feels more distant than ever. The left and the right are pulling farther apart, and many people are losing faith in the institutions that hold the country together. Could Trump or even Kamala be the one to preside over a fundamental shift in how future America is governed? Could the political unrest we've seen over the past few years be a sign that something bigger is coming? It's a tough question to answer, but it's one worth thinking about, especially as we head into the election. If Trump wins, will he be seen as the president who disrupted the system so much that it never returns back to normal? Or if he loses, could the political divisions deepen even further, leading to the kind of instability that the novel portrays? Either way, The Last President forces us to consider the possibility that we may be living through a turning point in American history. As we've explored the strange connections between these books and modern events, we can't help to ignore the more mysterious elements. Some have wondered, was Ingersoll Lockwood simply a clever author, or was he tapping into something much deeper? Could these uncanny similarities have ties to the occult? Throughout history, certain powerful individuals and secret societies have been thought to possess hidden knowledge, secrets about the true nature of power, politics, and even time itself. Could The Last President and the Barron Trump books be more than mere fiction? Could Lockwood have been privy to some hidden knowledge? Then there's the time travel angle. Some conspiracy theorists believe that the connections between these books and today's world are too precise to be coincidence. Could it be that Lockwood was somehow able to glimpse into the future? Of course, these are just theories, but when you consider the details, the names, the places, the events, it makes you wonder, is there more to these books than meets the eye? Whether it's hidden knowledge, the occult, or something even stranger, The Last President forces us to question how much we truly know about the forces shaping our world. So where does that leave us? The Last President is a book that explores the collapse of the political and financial systems, the rise of populism, and the growing divisions between the wealthy and everyone else. And while it was written in 1896, the themes feel more relevant than ever today. What I hope you take away from this video isn't fear or panic, but a deeper understanding of the forces at play in both politics and finance. History has a way of repeating itself, and The Last President serves as a reminder that political instability and financial collapse are never too far apart. So what do you think? Could Trump really be the last president? A lot of people think it doesn't matter who becomes president, it'll just be more of the same, and we're headed down the same path no matter what. Let me know what you think. If you found the video